Getting tired of seeing Rick Tocchet yet?
Pardon me?
Getting tired of seeing Rick Tocchet
Yeah, we
yet?
hung out a lot. He's a good fella. Got some great stories.
What have the last 2 weeks been for you, watching everything unfold and just seeing how the hockey was the last little bit here?
Well, it was great for hockey, I'll tell you that, because there was a lot of uncertainty, I think, going in with the general public, whatnot, what kind of intensity level would it be going into this, right, mid-season. But I think we had a feeling as coaches that it was going to get amped up in a hurry, just hearing the players talk. So I was not surprised that they played at a high level throughout. It's almost like 4 game sevens, right? Like you don't have a lot of room for error. So it felt that way on the ice. So to see the best players in the world go at that level is something. But then watching them check as well, right? If you want to win, you got to keep the puck out of your net. And that's why there just wasn't a lot of room out there, even for the best players, especially the final game, right? It was tough to find any ice. So it was a great experience. Obviously, being on the winning side helps that. But no matter what, I thought the hockey world got really dialed into it as it went along, especially in Canada and the U.S. So I think it's really a really good thing. It'll promote the game and also generate a lot of buzz for the Olympics in a year from now.
How do you anticipate the pace tonight when you got 3 guys that were playing for 2 weeks of hockey and you got a bunch of the guys that are still kind of revving things up? How do you expect the pace?
I think it'll be high. I think the guys that didn't go are looking forward to getting back in live action again, right? I know Johnny was running things here and had a really good 3 days. We took a day yesterday to recharge the batteries. Morning skate here was good buzz out there. The wild card is the guys that played in the tournament. Mental letdown on both sides, winning or losing. You're going to have a little bit of that. Hilly will be interesting because he never got in the net, but he practiced, so you're still always the guy ready to go, so you got to prepare yourself. Their guy Lankinen played. I don't know if they had other guys, Pedersen, but I don't know if he's in tonight. He might have got nicked up. So I think both teams will be ready to go off the break. You might see a little rustiness early, but I think both teams will find their game fairly quickly. We will have the WOG with Jack and Stoney, that play a lot of minutes. We'll see where they're at. We'll try to monitor it, but I'm sure once the puck drops, they'll get right into competitive mode.
You mentioned the buzz around it, and obviously the TV ratings were great. It seemed like even people that maybe aren't traditionally hockey fans were tuning in. Did you get a sense of the attention that the tournament was getting while you were in the middle of it?
No, and that's the interesting thing. So it's over. You're unwinding on yesterday, right? Flying back. Numerous texts from people around Canada, friends from Ottawa, right? That's where I was raised. So my brother came up and his 2 boys for a couple of the games, and I can't say what it meant here. You guys can answer that better for me. But in Canada, it was a huge deal. Huge deal, and that's what I found out without knowing it, especially being in Boston. I don't turn on the TV very often either. So you're just hearing little bits of what's going on. But yeah, I think the people of Canada needed a win, and a hockey win. So it's become that rivalry, Canada-US now, right, that Canada used to have with the Soviet Union for a long time. And I just, that's what I got from it yesterday. Like, people I hadn't heard from in forever. Just elated, and so I think the Canadians are gonna have a great weekend this weekend and celebrating. And whether that would have happened in the US, I'm sure it would have in spots, but I think in Canada, just because of how much they've always claimed that as their sport, that it's going to be magnified. And good for them. They should enjoy it.
How much did having the 3 guys that have played impact how you were putting the lines and pairs together today?
Not a lot, to be honest. Hanny staying with Whitey. He'll go in Theo's power play spot. The decision was between Corsi and Hutton. We picked Corsi because he's a righty. The lines, we tried to do it how we finished, which took a lot of thought because I couldn't remember how we finished, to be honest with you. It's like, I know we're in Boston. I'm like, somebody got hurt right away. And then it's Ole, right? Because I'm thinking back. We had guys sick on that trip. So, you rewind a little bit, and that's how we wanted it to sort of look going into that road trip. Lavoie was a bit of a wild card because I think he was up and down Holtz. So, Pierce is back now, so he goes in his spot. So we're trying to get back to where we were, or what we thought it would look like, and we'll see where it goes tonight.
Updates on Theodore, Carlson, and Schwint.
Carly and Schwinn are skating. Theo, I think, was he classified as week to week? So he's just starting to, basically the beginning of his rehab. Well, I shouldn't say the beginning. What's it been? He was first day, so 12 days, 2 weeks. So he's into his, whatever, week 3 of rehab. Nothing new otherwise.
Bruce, along the lines with Shea Theodore, obviously you're on Team Canada staff, or you're the head coach of this team. And in the first game of the tournament, are you like, you see one of your best defensemen go down? Is it just the inherent nature of it can happen in these tournaments?
Well, the way it happened too, it looked like similar to what Whitey did a couple of years ago in preseason, or last year, I forget. And so right away you're thinking the worst, but you don't know. It could be just a stinger or something. But yes, you get the news that. So I'm disappointed more for Theo than the organization, and I mean that because we play through injuries all the time. So we're used to it. We know that sometimes it's next man up. We're going to have a plan for those things. But for Theo, he was playing so well before, and this was his opportunity to cement sort of his place on the team. The guys want to play in the Olympics, right, too. So he was going to get an opportunity to show everybody, because we're on the West Coast. They don't see as much of us sometimes. So so for him personally, I was much more disappointed than I was for our team. Of course it hurts our team. He'll be back. Can't tell you exactly when, but there'll be an opportunity for Korzak to get play in hand and to get a little more power play touches. So there's always a way for us to still function well. But for the individual, when you sacrifice for that and you're out that early, it sucks. It really does. But he was in good spirits, and hopefully, like I said, when he gets back, he plays well and is a guy that goes to Italy next year.
You've been on the bench for big games, obviously. What was the feeling on the bench, maybe even in the overtime the other night? Where would that fall along the list?
Well, it was calm. It's not a. I was asked a bit about the play. It wasn't a really overly vocal group. They're kind of calm in general. You got a few guys. Drew Doughty's been there. He'll Marchand. They'll say some things, but no, I think everyone was in a good place. So it's kind of what you want when you're that far along. I think when you're in the playoffs, you get along in a series as a coach, you're probably like that. Composure is important. You're not going to be worried about trying to work a referee or this or that. You got to be focused on who's up next and make sure your details are right. And for coaches, that's usually, or little adjustments you have to make on the fly. So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty calm bench, and players, coaches, everybody.
Is it a similar feeling of winning a cup, of winning that tournament?
Well, when you're on the ice after, right, it was kind of, everyone's on the ice. You got the games in Boston, but you still had thousands of people in red Canadian jerseys in the stands. There's a picture at the end. So for a brief moment it is. But I got back today and there's no parade, so reality kicks in, and you're hearing stories about some guys that maybe spent their break in Hawaii of all places. So, but in the moment, it sure felt good. I'm not going to say it was like the Stanley Cup, because that's 9 months of with the same guy, and years of, but it was certainly something I'll never forget. And it's a memory that'll be up there. And the part about it separates it a little bit is representing your country, right, is always an honor. So that part's a little different than maybe the Stanley Cup part.
Mark acknowledged that there might be a letdown at some point. Is there a plan just to manage the guys that were playing?
Yeah, that going into it, we had thought about what would we do, right? So we knew Carly was out, going in. So now it's Canada and U.S. If they go to the final, which we thought could happen and did, how are we going to manage our players coming out of it? So there was an individual conversation first. We need those guys to play. So I think there'll still be some momentum there, but when will the letdown happen? Will it be Monday? Will it be in April? Will it be late March? Will it be next week? So we have to keep an eye on that, because those guys, I think, should have a break at some point. In today's salary cap world and roster size, you got to be, you can't just say, hey, 4 guys disappear. I don't think any team can do that. So we'll have to look at an individual basis. So for Hilly, as I said, he didn't play there, so he's itching to get back in the net. even though, as I said, he had to be on, red alert the whole time. So, but the other guys that played a lot of minutes, we'll have to keep an eye on those three guys.
Going back to Shea, even though he got hurt in the first game, he stuck around with the whole time. What does it say about Shea that he wanted to be around?
Well, that's the interesting part, right? Like, I wasn't sure because, that's a tough one to deal with and to watch it every day, but he wanted to right away. He wants to be part of the group. He wants to be the part of the group going forward. And good for him. It says a lot about his loyalty to the flag and to, his teammates. So, again, he sacrificed his break and he gets hurt and he sacrifices the break to stick around to watch his teammates win and be a part of it. So, I thought it was awesome.
Then Guy Gaudreau's out there again today. John Stevens told us earlier in the week how that came to be, but how nice has it been to have him around the team the last few
years? I missed most of it, but great to have him here today and through the weekend. Obviously, their family went through a lot, so if this can help him heal a little bit, be here on the ice doing what he loves best, I think it's a great for Johnny to do that. He approached, Krim and I about this a while ago. We thought it was a great idea. I'm sure the players enjoy it too. He's worked with some of them a little more than others, but happy to have him here and play a small part in helping him get back to being a coach, because I think that's what he loves more than anything, being on the ice coaching, and he's had an opportunity to do that here.